your tripod or whatever it is, right? And and there's nobody there coming to force you to do anything. But OnlyFans has a lot of hidden coercion. So, for instance, OnlyFans creators, her name is Amaranth, and she's one of the few OnlyFans that was making like millions and millions of dollars, from doing her hands. And Amaranth basically broke down crying at some point, saying that her boyfriend was forcing her to do the OnlyFans, and that he was taking her money, and and she was being bullied, and he was taking her money and stuff. And people were shocked because she was incredibly successful, So even when it doesn't look like there's coercion, there can be coercion there as well. But to what Ashley said, I think something that is incredibly interesting to me personally, right, is how in a lot of the societies where the people will say things like, oh, prostitution makes a woman dirty, or they'll turn up their noses towards any kind of hint of sex work, right? In a lot of those same societies, if you look at the way they go about their dating and their marriage and their normal, quote unquote, normal relationships, a lot of it is basically prostitution, but just sanctioned. So I hear some women saying stuff like, oh, after you learn this sex trick, he'll be paying for your hair and your nails, or he'll be paying for your this or your that, or he'll be paying your bills or whatever. And I'm like, do you not realize that you're describing prostitution? You're basically saying that you're going to learn advanced sex skills in order to induce a man to start paying some of your bills. It's just roundabout prostitution, in another weird way.
Someone said prostitution?
They don't see the... Huh? What do you say?
No, it's just a joke. Shit.
Tell me, Ann. Come.
Yeah, so I was just interested in what Ashley was saying, because I always thought it was hypocritical. I thought the women who are basically, they're basically fucking men for money, but the man they're fucking for money is their husband, or the man they're fucking for money is their boyfriend. They'll turn around and be like, oh my God, she's dirty because she does whatever it is, OnlyFans, or because $260,000, US dollars. Not
shit. Sugar belly.
All right.
Yo, sugar belly cheese.
Come on, y'all.
Right.
260K. Imagine buying an addict for 260.
Man, you're out of your mind.
You know what kind of problem you're gonna have? You know what kind of problem
you're out of your
mind.
mind.
You know what kind of problem you're gonna have with sugar belly?
Interest on that pussy.
And on top of that, 50,000 in gold. So 24 carats.
So what's spot price? What's spot price?
About the gold.
How much per ounce?
That's what's going on.
Yeah, that's got to be
22 carats minimum. 24 carat.
Anyway, so
She said 24 carat.
She just blew us out of there. She said she won 24.
Sugar Belly white price would be the best investment I've ever made in my life. How tall are you again, Sugar Belly?
Sugar Belly. So I want to know.
How tall are you, Sugar Belly?
If that's your plan.
How tall are you?
I'm 6 feet tall.
Stop lying.
She's lying. Okay. You know what? Wait, hang on. So I'm just going to say one thing. El Nathan, I know El Nathan in real life, so ask El Nathan how tall he is.
Nathan,
is she being honest?
Wait, I didn't know y'all had.
Yeah, she is tall.
Ooh, she got Amazon.
Yo, if y'all
being irresponsible.
Hey, y'all gotta stop saying
Belly, you are being irresponsible. You should have had 1 billion babies. All of them would be NBA players.
Real shit, he ain't lying.
Y'all gotta stop talking to my queen. I don't like the way y'all speaking to my queen. Anyway,
my bad, Concrete. My bad.
We'll move out the way, Concrete. We'll move out the way.
Thank you. So, do you take... Anyway, let's move.
If any of you want to get to Sugar Belly, I'm the official broker. You have to come for me.
Not El Nathan trying to get cut of my bride price.
Yeah, I need like 8%. I'm not giving them that. Just 8%. These are Nigerians for real.
See what we gonna do is we get 6 goats.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not accepting goats. I'm only accepting cows, full, and healthy cows. Not those
what the fuck is this? What the fucky? What is that?
She hating. Look at her
Back
hating.
to the
She hating. Oh, she hating. I'm
Constantly, you should
hating.
learn how to shut the fuck up.
Look at them.
Fucking
Look at
incel.
them.
You
Look
just
at this.
fucking talk.
Oh shit!
Like, you
Look
know
at
what?
Dottie
If I was a
hating.
guy,
I
if I was a guy country, I swear to God, if I had a fucking dick, I'll fucking ask to make you my
look at
bitch.
this
You're so
weirdo.
fucking
You know
annoying.
what? That's
You
that same
fucking
guava
femtile.
spirit.
Who is that?
Guava,
Yeah.
don't you have that same spirit?
Who is that? That sound like
Claire.
Guava's little sister.
A new unlocked player.
You're a femcel, and like, I mean, you're jealous.
See what you done did to me,
I
Sugar
said
Belly?
incel. I meant incel.
Sugar Belly, you see what happened now?
Incel, and you like, you're just so
Now that they hear
weird.
you finna get married.
You just talk. Are you married? Nobody could have married your bitch ass. If anyone did, you want to beat her up and rape children because you're a fucking weirdo.
Look.
I feel bad for any woman that married you. I'm scared of him, actually. He wants to beat me up. I'm scared. I'm scared of him. I don't have a dick, so you should.
Concrete, don't say anything else. This is kind of weird.
Wait, what's going on?
I'm gonna take care of it.
Wait, do you and Dustin
Y'all
have
can go
beef?
into
Like,
the
what's
back
going on?
channel.
She
y'all
just
can go
got
to a
here.
private.
She just got
Can
here.
we move
This is her
on?
first day here.
You
Sugar
guys
Belly.
can go
I do
into
not
a
know her.
private.
Here, look
You
at
guys
Carolyn
can go
hating.
into a back
Sugar
channel.
Belly, you see what happened now that they know we
But
should
we
get
can
married?
Move on from the conversation because I don't want to hear that. And I'm
We
pretty
know.
sure
Stop being tally. You're not a good tally. We like tally.
the
Yeah,
rest
I
of
was
the
trying
room
to
don't
ask,
want to hear that.
where's Tally?
The rest of the room does not
I
want to hear.
think she's on
About
TikTok.
Today, new niggas on
Let's just say it's a good thing she's here. Thank
We don't
God.
want to hear. We don't want to hear about a gorilla climbing a tree. Can we move on?
Hey, he's still yes, motherfucking D.
She also say
Sugar Belly, but I'm 6 feet tall too. What are your thoughts?
That's fine.
We don't want to hear about.
I'm in the house.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
By the way,
hang on, one second.
Concrete, I appreciate you wiring me that 100K last week.
no problem, buddy.
I appreciate that 4K.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
On
No
this
problem,
hype, on
fellas.
this hype thing, right?
And that order
So,
for that
something
king size
that-
blanket for $2,000, that really helped me out.
Something that
Yes,
surprised
you're good,
me,
you're good.
like, I will say, like, something that I really found very surprising is how obsessed American women are with men's height. I found it incredibly surprising. Like, they talk about men being tall so much, and I don't understand the obsession because a lot of American women are very short. They're like 5'5" or something like that. They're quite short. So I don't understand. Like, why not?
Not
just
too
pick
much
somebody
on
who's,
short
like,
people.
It's an
I'm 5'1".
obsession with their family.
Yeah,
life,
but
man.
I mean,
It's like some
so
weird
I think
shit.
what I'm trying to survive.
Except for King. King wants to
It
be
makes
a
sense for like tall people to date other tall, and for short people to date their fellow short people. But the people, in fact, the shorter they are, the more obsessed they are with tall men.
And that's a fact.
it confuses me so much.
Well, that's because tallness
I mean, my
represents
vote is 6'1", so yeah.
tallness represents masculinity, and it also represents dominance. So when you're tall and you are, that is more masculine. That's why when we see tall women, they think they trannies. But
Yeah, I've
they
heard that.
gotta check the Adam's apple.
I've heard this kind of idea from Americans as well. So like that's like the flip side of it, right? So I've seen Americans calling tall women masculine, and that also confused me as well, because I don't know, height has never figured into masculinity for me, and I don't. It's not a very big deal like in Nigeria, but in America, height apparently is a very big deal. So I was like, people are, I'm even seeing like men going to get surgery to break their legs and like make their legs longer to look taller.
Yeah, that's just the internet, baby girl. That ain't everywhere.
Sugar Belly,
I
there
think
is finally something we agree on. I dated one tall guy. My entire dating career, which was very short. I dated one tall guy. Every time we went out, I thought he. I'm only 5'4".
dates in Korea?
There's no way
Did you
you
say
won't
dates in
do it.
Korea?
Yeah, Jason Curry.
I got married young.
I love it.
I got married young. Okay, but I dated one guy that was over 6 feet, and I always felt like he was taking me on a walk. I was like, I didn't like it.
Yeah, but all the guys
I didn't like
you
it.
though, right?
No, my husband's only 5'10".
Yeah, so like,
Yeah, but
it's
he's
like
tall, that's
in terms
nice.
of like height.
Yeah, see, that's me, bro. I'm like 5'10", bro. I ain't
For me, like the only preference I have when it comes to height is just
The point is actually the
practical.
guy that you married is taller than you, not that he's over 6 foot.
Yeah, but he's not that much taller.
Yeah, but she's
Like,
she's
I mean,
short.
if
She's
it's
very
too
short,
much
right?
of a height difference, it's like, dude, how do I even kiss this dude?
Exactly.
Do I get a step
belly button.
ladder?
Jeez, your
and I
nigga
didn't
ain't in the
that.
league. He's 6'5".
I mean, so for example, like my dad is 6'3",
He can't dunk, though.
right? My dad
You right,
is
Tim.
6'3".
Yeah, he's
My
6'5".
mom is-
Tim,
my mom
shut
is
up.
5'8".
You're so annoying.
Your mom is 5'8".
Yeah, my mom's 5'8", my dad is 6'3", and I'm 6
Annoying.
feet. So I'm kind of like in between them. I'm taller than my mom, but I'm shorter than my dad.
Interesting.
But with the whole height thing, I feel like the only limitation I have on height is just practicality, as Ashley said. If you're gonna get a neck problem trying to kiss this person in either direction, then it doesn't make any sense. But you know, if the guy is the same height as me, that's fine. If he's slightly shorter than me, that's fine. If he's slightly taller than me, that's fine.
To be fair,
I don't understand it.
To be fair, Sugar Belly, with Nigerians, you know, the average Nigerian man is a confident man, right? There are other things that make up for not having maybe the ideal physical stats.
Yeah,
that
it's
Nigerian
quite
culture
it's quite
produces.
common to see Nigerian men short and their wives are towering above them, and that's like very normal.
Look, King of Sugar Belly, the shorter the Nigerian man, the bigger ego.
And the more he likes tall women.
Yeah, the shorter the Nigerian man, the bigger his ego. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
see
agree.
a short
I
Nigerian
agree.
man, be afraid. Be
Sugar
afraid.
Belly,
Yeah.
do you resemble Yemi Alade?
Do I? Sorry, what do you say?
Do you resemble Yemi?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Ask him
What
if
about
ask him if
What
he
about Tiwa Savage?
resembles.
What about
Cedric the
Tiwa
Entertainer.
Savage?
I don't know. I don't think so.
hold on,
I
let
don't
me see
know.
something.
Sugar Belly asked Concrete if he resembles Cedric the Entertainer.
Concrete, do you resemble Cedric the Entertainer?
No, I'm taller than him.
Okay, so I'm Carolyn. What like features are you trying to like compare?
Oh, I
He's
was
just trying to be
get
shady
weird.
because we're getting married.
Concrete, hang on.
mad.
You're getting married to everybody.
I'm not.
No, me and you, Sugar Belly. She's mad that we're getting married.
Wait, excuse me.
Why?
Wait, 1 second. How are we getting married? Did I accept bride price from you?
Quiet your mouth!
Did you give me any gold?
It's on
You
the
haven't
way.
given
It's
me
on
any
the way.
gold, and you're telling me we're getting married. Concrete, go on Mene right now and buy me something.
Bumbat.
Go on
Girl,
Mene.com.
listen, you can have him.
She's open-minded. If you got an
You
open
can have
wallet,
him.
you can be open.
You can have Concrete
You know what they
because
say? Open wallet, open ass.
Yeah,
He needs
open
a
wallet,
new truck.
open-minded.
Omicron.
You
Y'all
can
are
have
wild, man.
you can feed him some
How can you be
food
going around telling
and some
people?
Foo-foo.
Wait,
I need
well,
some
sorry,
cornbread.
like,
That
nigga
so
said
number one, I hate fufu and I hate egusi. But number two, yes. But number two, how can you be going around telling people that we're getting married? You haven't bought me anything from Mene. You haven't bought me anything from Over, right? And you have the guts to be telling people that we're getting married. Go on Mene.com or go on
He can buy you a
Over.com right now
Starbucks drink.
and buy
Sugar
gold.
Belly,
Wait,
you
what's
want
the-
a
what's the-
hand
what's the-
crocheted,
we need-
crocheted king
Nah,
size
Nah, he gonna get
blanket.
you right this
No,
weekend.
Ashley,
He gonna get you right this
Ashley,
weekend.
Ashley, I don't play that way. So what I want is on Mene right
shit.
now. They have a fishbone necklace. I think it's like 16 to 18 inches of pure 24 karat gold. That's what I want to start.
Man, blocking my pocket, Sugar Belly. You're blocking my
Just like
pocket.
an Igbo woman. Just like an Igbo
You're blocking my pockets, okay? I'm trying to get my
But
business
you're
going.
gonna
Working a
date
ring
an
of
Igbo
fire
woman.
for you.
Hey, all right, Guava, we're gonna have to make this work, Guava.
Very well.
Nigga, I never wanted you. I
Wait,
never
it is,
wanted
wait,
you.
it's very
You
wrong.
have to make
You're going
I
to
was
date an Igbo woman.
Yo, chill, guys. Don't do that.
I'm fucking around.
He can buy you a
I would
Starbucks
never.
drink. I'm just saying.
I don't want you.
Look, I don't know why this person want to focus on her.
Before you get
I don't know why she want to focus on me. I'm talking to Sugar
Check
Belly.
that.
Y'all niggas.
Glad I'm moving on, bro. Like,
Check that engine light.
get your
Try to check me.
get your life together.
No.
Don't worry about me
Get
and my
your car together.
cars.
Wait, is this like a lover spot?
No.
Oh, it's some woman with some weird ass obsession for fucking 60.
No, I have no obsession with you.
Why the fuck are you talking when I'm talking about Sugar Belly?
You can talk to your sugar belly.
Shut the fuck up.
I'll shut the fuck up.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to date an Igbo woman, you need to be ready to spend money. This is very
mentioned, and really is an interesting and odd thing to me that it's not being clearly identified, is that Charlie Kirk was not being targeted in the Kimmel comments. What happened is that Kimmel opportunistically, or his writers, who knows? I mean, guys, who knows if Kimmel really did the research here, right? Was opportunistically applying what Charlie Kirk did to the Republican/MAGA group. And it was just completely false. I mean, it's like blatantly false. It's actually hilariously false. I mean, this was a guy who was anti-Charlie Kirk, someone clearly conservative, Republican MAGA, and was very pro-trans, anti-Trump, and anti-conservative movement, and clearly pro-trans is that kind of the focal point. I mean, so whoever, unfortunately for Kimmel, he didn't do his due diligence, because I think he's a smarter guy than that. And likely his writer just kind of fucked everyone, essentially, by being lazy and not actually realizing that Charlie Kirk was on the other side of things. So that's literally what happened. It's unfortunate for everyone, because I do think, ultimately, that the government is putting the pressure, and the FCC, people don't like this, and I'm onto something when that's the case, right? The FCC and the administration clearly put at least indirect pressure in this direction. The Nexstar acquirer of a lot of the assets out of ABC, a big deal for them, also seemingly put pressure on it. And we don't know what backdoor conversations were had. So what happened, it seems, in summary, is that this was a pressured thing. ABC would not want to do this. They had to do it, likely coming from administration pressure on down the chain. Could also be Nexstar's, I don't know, maybe they're owned by Republicans and they just were boiled their blood. And they're like, if we're going to take this guy out, if we're going to do this deal. We don't know all the details, but clearly a pressured move, and also one that is really incited by the political climate in the United States and the MAGA team and the Trump administration having the opportunity here to highlight a blatant, what looks like liberal media propaganda, right? Because unfortunately for, again, Kimmel, it was clearly incorrect to the point of libel, I believe. And he said it anyway, and I think they jumped on it and made a martyr out of him. And I agree with that too. I heard someone else say that. It was brilliant. I totally agree. This could be the best thing for Kimmel's career since, his career. Like, he could make a killing off of this financially by, getting this turmoil on his name and taking the right side of things, or the side of things that are most profitable to him. So, sorry, Marshall, I see you want to say something. And I kind of closed there too, so perfect timing.
Awesome. Marshall, do you want to go? Did you have a comment?
I don't know. It kind of sounds like we're saying, well, something shitty happened to Jimmy Kimmel, but there's going to be something real good on the other side of that. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm sure you would agree with me. Government, FCC, those folks getting involved, saying they're going to censor people, probably not the best thing in the world for free viewpoints. Right? If the government's getting involved in viewpoint discrimination, essentially saying there's one right method of behavior, and that's not to mock Charlie Kirk, I worry that verges, to say politely, into government censorship, and I'm not so sure that's the thing we want to do in our country.
Thank you, Marshall. Now, guys, I was walking, so I have Les next in the queue. Is that correct, everybody?
Yes.
All right, Les, my main man. It's your turn, my friend.
Well, I looked at what Jimmy Kimmel said, and he did not say anything bad about the assassinated guy. He merely said that the assassin, he didn't think he was a left-wing guy, and that this was being used to paint all the left-wing guys. and he thought he might be a right-wing guy. And it's very likely that this joke was written at the time where all that was known was that he had Republican parents, and he was a guy that went hunting with a hunting rifle, and that's not necessarily a left-wing guy. I don't know how much of this him having being insulted by trans, which I think is, and I don't know this person, but I'm assuming that's what motivated this. So I don't see what Kimmel did. He was incorrect, but frankly, 70% of the people on Clubhouse would be not able to speak if they got something wrong about breaking news. Because people make assumptions, and which I would never want to see. So and I believe the question is not just free speech, but we don't want to suppress and make people afraid to speak, and to have different viewpoints. And what else is important? One other thing. Also kind of wonder, and I would love to see this talked about in the chat if someone's interested. We had experiences like with the Red Scare. And, we were worried about Stalin and stuff, and he was a horrible guy. And we had suppression, especially in Hollywood and stuff, and the TV industry. And what people felt about that. You have the right of association, and on the other hand, you don't want to see talented people not being able to work and all the harm that was done there. And finally, in terms of talent, I think Colbert and Kimmel are very, very talented. And to compare them with Carson was living in an era where there were only three choices at most. ABC, the three major networks. Now there are a million choices, really a billion choices, any website, all these streaming services. And to compare their numbers doesn't have to do with their talent. However, it does say that the business model that worked before doesn't work now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Les. As always, great to see you here in other rooms. And let's go from the mighty, mighty Midwest. Meryl, welcome.
Hey, Scott, can you do me a favor?
Yeah, sure.
As you continue to moderate, could you do it in the Trump voice? That'd be great.
We're going to go to Meryl. She's a very nasty woman. Okay, very nasty. She's very nasty. She's like worse than Rosie, if you can believe that. Go ahead, Meryl.
Thank you, Howard. First of all, my son used to work for Disney corporate finance, production finance. I tried to get hold of him all day because I wanted to know what's his take on the cost of Nightline and nighttime and all of that stuff. But he probably was avoiding this conversation, so he didn't call me back. We need to look. I would like to look at what Kimmel said in a broader sense. We're hearing what he said is half of the. It's really half of what was actually happening. He said that that the right was the MAGA people were hoping that this guy wasn't one of them, the killer wasn't one of them. But you have to remember that the president immediately announced that this fellow was, whoever it was the far left, radical, evil left. The evil left. So he was actually kind of making fun of that. Regardless, he also made a mistake because to talk about that at that particular time was like talking about Jesus, because Trump had built this man up. This man, Charlie Kirk, has been built up more in death than he was in life. And it is abhorrent to begin with that he was assassinated. That is abhorrent. There's no question about it. But if you have to take it and consider your president was talking about it. Your president was blaming people, and your president put it in a political climate, put it in a political sense. And that is what Jimmy Kimmel does. I'm not going to worry about his contract because it's apparent they didn't fire him. There is some concern about what's in the contract, what's not in the contract. So they have suspended him indefinitely. So, I've worked on contracts. I know about these things. So I'm not going to be too concerned. They went to their lawyers. The lawyer said, right now, just suspend him. So that's where I sit on that. Should he have been? I think we are not being honest with ourselves if we say that there isn't some political pressure, something from higher up we're not talking about executives, we're talking about Trump. And regarding deals and people that were going to not carry the show anymore, that also while it's a business decision, it may have been based on a political decision as well. He is somebody who has made political commentary part of his humor, whether you like it or not, don't watch. But I do believe that this is political overtones, and it is about free speech, just free speech about the wrong person. Thank you.
Thank you, Meryl. I don't know if I can do it all in the Trump voice because it takes. I gotta write material. I
prefer no Trump voice.
Yeah. Okay, David. Absolutely. Perfect.
Am I next on your list?
You are next, David. Thank you very much. What do you have to say?
I think we see a trend here. ABC backed down on a lawsuit that they had with Trump that they knew was very winnable. That started a bad precedent. Maybe they had no choice, maybe in their minds, and they did have, this pending business deal coming. Sinclair, I guess, is involved with the newest one. They are basically MAGA. I guess they're a third of the deal. If you watch their stations nationwide. I don't know if I should say this. I'll wait for maybe Gary to come back, but I'm glad for him to use the word gay as in happy and reclaim it. So I found that refreshing. The Trump administration just filed a $15 billion lawsuit against the New York Times. I mean, you can't tell me that there isn't intimidation. I know Abby is in the audience, and I've got it right here. I'm sorry. There's a Supreme Court.
Which decision? I'm on stage.
Oh, good. Number 22842. It was May 30, 2024, the NRA against Maria Vuelo. I'll read the short part here. Sotomayor found that she wrote the majority, government officials cannot attempt to coerce private parties in order to punish or suppress views the government disfavors. So that there is that precedent. And Kimmel was blatantly anti-Trump. I think he crossed the line many other times. I like him as a person. I don't think he's funny. Liked him better in some of his previous shows. But we're seeing a trend of suppression here. We know it.
Get to him, so it's paper. We want Doug Remember something like that. If you're going to get food, you got to get the black. That's mine. Like $10 left.
I can't hear a word you said.
Steve, he opened up by accident.
And I ordered a tank in my car, so I paid $20.
He's talking something. Can you mute Steve?
Hey guys, sorry. Can you mute yourself, Steve? Sorry about that.
Yeah. So that's the gist of my thoughts, and I've enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much, David. Let's go to Odion Ware. Odion Ware, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. I wanted Gary to be as I'm speaking because all the things happening right now are things I told he and Marshall, but it's not that I was being an alarmist. Again, this is something that I studied in University of Brisbane, Queensland, the fall of democracies. I've spoken about one on the Rwandan genocide and how it started. And what Trump is doing, what the FCC is doing, interfering, cajoling, is what led to these things. I mean, these things have been done. I mean, books, articles, studies have been done on the behavior of authority. Today, Trump said that because he won the election on Air Force One, nobody has a right to mock him, and the FCC is now going to go after TV stations. So, well, Americans voted for Trump. They should be able to live with the consequences. But for me, my job is to come up every day and remind, when things like this happen, and remind Gary, I told you so. Thank you very much. I yield.
Thank you very much, Odion Ware. I appreciate it. And we come now to Linda. Linda, welcome to the stage. What do you have to say for us?
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I just want to say, I know it sounds kind of dumb, but, when I was growing up, my dad came to the country in the 80s, and he lived in a totally different country. So he used to watch with my mom, Johnny Carson, and then we, and then went on to Jay Leno and David Letterman, that whole thing. But, and there was the one guy, I forget what his name was, and he had a big lawsuit with one of them, I forget who I don't know, it was Conan. He made a bunch of money off of that lawsuit. I think it was Conan. I don't remember. But anyway, so yeah, I remember this, Johnny Carson was making jokes about the president one time. My dad freaked out. He's like, oh my God, he can't say those kind of things. He's going to be arrested. He's going to be shot. Their government's going to come after him. He's going to be in trouble. I remember my mom said, calm down. This is America. People have freedom. We have First Amendment. We have freedom of speech. You can make fun of, you can make jokes. You can make fun of the president. You can make fun of things. And so my dad, he was like, oh, that's right. So yeah, I feel like my dad, his paranoia, I feel like I'm starting to feel that way now. It's like, you can't even have, an opinion. I don't think anything that Jimmy Kimmel said was really that offensive. He didn't he didn't make fun of Charlie Kirk. He didn't directly attack Charlie Kirk's family. I don't think anything he said was very that distasteful or inappropriate. I mean, he just said, his opinion and on who the killer and the shooter was and where they were from. I think because Trump has sued various media outlets, he's now suing the New York Times. He's sue happy. I think that's what ABC is afraid of. I think they're definitely scared of, there could be a lawsuit. I think they're money, and it's what they can do for a money grab. And then I do think that these broadcasting companies, there's political MAGA and various conservatives or whatever, different political views, and I think they're on I think people right now are on a political witch hunt. If you say anything about Charlie Kirk that people don't agree with, they're on a political witch hunt about it, and it's pretty ridiculous. I read the article by Sinclair Broadcasting, what they're demanding. They're demanding that Jimmy Kimmel issue a formal apology to Charlie Kirk. They're also demanding that he give Charlie Kirk's family money. I mean, it's crazy. This is America. I feel like people should be able to state their opinions. And I'll say this last thing. I mean, things that Charlie Kirk said weren't always, the nicest things about certain groups of people. He said some things that I was like, wow, that's really kind of evil. But I had to sit and listen to it and grin and bear it, and I had the option to change the channel, change YouTube, listen or watch something else. So I just feel like, how could he sit there and he's allowed to say all these things, but then another person wants to make a commentary and they can't? And the last thing I want to say is, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's currently a petition going on. It's a growing petition to punish South Park because they made an episode about Charlie Kirk before he died. And South Park already pulled the episode from their reruns. Comedy Central has pulled the episode out of their reruns, but the episode aired August 6th. This is before he died. He watched the episode himself and said it was funny because I watched that commentary Charlie Kirk made. And it's still streaming on the Paramount Plus platform, but there's nothing South Park I don't think can really do about that, or either could Comedy Central if it's still streaming on a platform. That would be up to Paramount Plus to remove it. But yeah, there's people that want South Park canceled. I just think people are going way too far with this, and I definitely think Trump's influence is just going way too far. People should be able to have an opinion. This is America, and they're just, it's become like a fascist dictatorship, and that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. I really appreciate your contribution. And let's go to Ben. Ben, welcome to the stage. How are you? What do you have to say?
Hey, real quick, Scott, did I make it back in enough time? I thought Gary was leaving. I didn't want to lose my spot. I thought he actually closed the room.
Yeah, you're good. You're good, Chris. We'll put you in the queue.
All right.
Because you were here before. No problem, buddy. Go ahead, Ben.
So if anything, the person, whatever Kimmel said, the person that should be offended should not really be the Kirk's family, but rather Trump himself. I think that whole, if you watch the video, the whole context of this so-called offending speech, I think he was ridiculing Trump's reaction or response when reporters were asking him, "How do you feel, after this Kirk happened? He was shot," and then he just drifted into saying, "Oh, I'm doing good. We're building this wonderful ballroom, blah 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 blah. It's a great chandelier." I think Kimmel was really ridiculing mostly the response by Trump, being seemingly a bit of a cavalier and drifting away from the topic that he was asked. Basically, his response and his emotions after Charlie Kirk was murdered. So I think that was the gist of it. And if I look at the actual words of what maybe the FCC Brandon Carr was referring to, that he said something offensive to Kirk, he or his family, or disrespect, he was basically saying, I'm reading this really short paragraph. "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it." So if this were in a court of law and one side was arguing that he was denigrating Kirk, or saying that the alleged murder was one of the MAGA gang, this could be a really interpretation, because honestly, if you were to really accuse Kimmel of smearing the MAGA gang, if you will, I think he's not really saying that this alleged shooter is a MAGA, but rather he's saying that the MAGA crowd is trying to push this person away from their crowd, if you will. I think that's what he's accusing, if you will. So there's very little in my mind that the FCC should find this as disrespectful of Kirk's family, or insightful, or anything to that. So anything basically in the public interest that Brandon Carr mentioned. So I think there's a very, very weak argument to say that the FCC needs to step in if the stations, the networks, don't do anything about Kimmel, because Kimmel had said something drastically evil that would hurt the public interest. The thing that I wanted to, a lot of people have mentioned a lot of good points. I think the First Amendment angle, I still think it's important, because we really do believe, not even for comedians, even from newscasters, they have a large, fairly higher threshold of being held as against the law for things that they say, because we do want to set a relatively high, high bar rather, or at least give them leeway to express themselves as journalists, free of constraints, if other than violating laws that are strictly prohibiting, like incitable violence, yelling fire in the crowded theater, etc., etc. And then in the case of comedians, I think they should be entitled to even more. They really should be able to ridicule, make fun of the political figures and political phenomena or movements without the fear that they can be pulled off air or punished. But other than that, I think there's one other angle that I wanted to add to this conversation, which is that, remember, this is before FCC issued any rulings taking away licenses, which they probably can't really do, or any court order NBC to stop Kimmel. It's before any of that happened. it's actually the companies, the employers preemptively doing this. In fact, the word preemptive was used in the news report for putting Kimmel indefinitely in suspension. So I think to me, this is even more concerning because if this were there was a court challenge of FCC's action, that's one thing that a federal judge could issue based on, constitutional First Amendment right that the FCC had done something wrong. But this is before that. The companies themselves, ostensibly for the purpose of their business dealings, as in trying to gain favor from FCC to allow them to buy stations or to make exceptions to the whatever the 39% rule of ownership, that they themselves are doing this. So that they're sort of doing the bidding of the government in terms of restricting speech. And I think nowadays, with technology being such an integral part of our lives, we should be more aware that First Amendment doctrine or previous case laws, maybe they need to be updated in modern days to understand the power of these private companies regulating speech themselves, ostensibly for private purposes, but in fact it's impacting the everyday citizens' way of life and freedom of speech via the comedians or news broadcasters. So I think that's even more concerning to me. And if this trend continues under the current administration, where law firms are capitulating, stations are paying out, $50 and $60 million settlement, even though they may have a fairly decent chance of winning in court of law if this will come before a federal judge for final resolution, I think that will impact our way of life much further than any particular comedian or even administration. I would think that this is a platform that we should be, all of us, voters or not, should make it known that we want to defend our right to freedom of speech and be aware of the power of private companies, sort of in cahoot with the small government. To me, what this administration has done is really not a standard typical of philosophy of small government, but rather they're pretty looming large in our lives with their actions, direct or indirect. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you so much, Ben. Appreciate your contribution to the conversation. And let's go to my dear friend, Abby. Abby, welcome to the stage.
Thank you. So first of all, to just clear up a couple things Ben said, which I wasn't even going to talk about. You absolutely can yell fire in a theater as long as it's not an untruth. Scott. If there happens to be a fire in a theater, you better yell it. It's only when it's an untruth that it is not protected. With respect to his other comment, which is the prior restraint that he's claiming for the Preemptive Act, these are private companies. It's already been litigated in front of the Supreme Court with respect to how much government regulation is going to attach to these companies. We had the case, what was it, last year or the year before with Twitter? So, I would argue not for more government and more government involvement, especially in the private sector. I actually was coming up to talk about one of the companies involved because I know them extremely well. I've had many contractual deals with them, and I know the senior management of the company. And I also understand how the market share works with ratings and with sponsors. And you really have to look at, first of all, Sinclair and Nexstar. First of all, Sinclair actually had the deal to buy Tribune as they spun off the actual newspaper, and Tribune was going to sell those stations, and that was during the Trump administration in 2018, and the FCC didn't come to their side. Sinclair ended up not doing the deal, lost a lot of money in the transaction. Shareholders took a bite with that. And now Nexstar picks up the same deal, basically, to come in and saturate the market and own and go over the monopoly number of ownerships of these affiliate stations. These I can speak to Sinclair, which is a conservative company. David Smith is conservative, although on his board he has Democrats and outspoken Democrats. He has a mix on his board. Also in his senior management, there's a mix, but it is a conservative leaning company. And it's their choice if they want to air different syndications or different TV shows or not. And, I really think you have to look at the business decisions that they made and also what Nexstar made. And it also has to do with viewership. I said this in another room. Steve was in the room with me. It was a big stage, and I asked how many people on the stage actually watch regular network TV, because most of these late night shows were a result of people that were tuning in for the 11 o'clock local news in their cities. And then they naturally would go on to the late show. And the viewership on the evening news is, they're winning with a 2 to a 3 point share in ratings when it used to be 12 to 15 points. It's just dropped substantially. And sponsors have dropped. These stations make their money during the election cycles. It's considerable money, especially with PAC money, which is so much more than when the candidate themselves is buying the airtime. So I think those are all their business factors, and that coupled with these companies not making their choice. And yes, could it be that they want to gain favor with the FCC? Perhaps that's the reason Nexstar made that choice. However, that's a business choice of a company, of a private company. So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Abby. Always great to see you. And let's go to Chris. Chris, welcome to the stage. What do you have to say?
Hey, Scott. What's going on, Howard and Alan? For the recorded page in this room, please send my wishes to Gary directly and keep recording. Let's get to the topic. Should Kimmel have been suspended? Well, obviously not. Again, another overreach from our administration. The sensitive bunch, I guess we'll call it, the people who told us that the liberals were crying liberal tears. Very crazy to witness people try to make sense of it as if they had any sense of what type of rating issues any of these shows were having prior to yesterday. Yesterday. Like, this wasn't a topic, so with everybody digging and plowing for research and analysis and ways to conform the vision for what they believe, very impressive, I will say. I will say it in my words, idiotic, but impressive. And the reason I say it's idiotic because we don't have to reach that far to make this shit make sense. The man stated that Charlie Kirk's death was bad. We all agree. Nobody needs to be assassinated, whatever. We can go the whole route. We all know the spiel that we're all supposed to say here. But that wasn't what was funny about that joke. What was funny about that joke was that he told the American people that Donald Trump reacted to Charlie Kirk's death like a 4-year-old who just lost his goldfish. That is a quality comedic joke at the highest level. Why? Because the video that he showed prior to that was exactly that of a child, no disrespect for the president, excuse me, of a man who obviously seemed to not care or give a fuck about what happened yesterday. Hey, listen. I'm all right. Hey, Mr. President, how are you feeling about Charlie Kirk death, knowing that he was the president? I'm good. However, look at all them trucks over there. See that stuff I told y'all was built in the backyard? That's going up right now. You asked me about that. You asked me about the trucks that got all that cement in them, man. We about to put that ballroom together like we planned. Now, yes, I'm paraphrasing a lot of that. I made a lot of that up for the entertainment of this conversation. But that is exactly what that man did on national TV after being asked about a tragic death that just happened days ago. So what Jimmy Kimmel stated was probably the closest fact of truth that we've gotten out of anybody in the last few days. The man actually did not give a damn anymore about the conversation about Charlie Kirk. Basically, the same amount of not give a fucks that he have about the Epstein file, if we're being honest. So yeah, witnessing him use the FTC as his battering ram to people attacking or making him feel less than who he is. It's sad because we shouldn't be able to, again, this is just another instance of the administration overreaching in categories that should be bipartisan. And the people that are supposed to be bipartisan in those categories actually just saying, no, I'll bend the knee. For whatever reason, if that's just loyalty or you have something over me, we don't know. We don't know why he keeps winning lawsuits against television networks for basically nothing. Why they're paying out specifically for basically nothing. Now, I use basically to hold a lot of weight here because I don't want to go into details of what they've been sued for. But the same goes for the Jimmy Kimmel. Hey, you need to accept an apology and you need to donate to the charity. That sounds like a shakedown in my eye because he never said anything to disrespect Charlie Kirk's dad. But we've watched the shakedown now for going on 10 months. Since the president took office, we've literally watched the shakedown of America. Company, organization, hell, our museums are being shook down now. Next will be the American people. Maybe we were the first because he told us that he would get the prices down, and we completely forgot about that, or at least his base did, while he threw everything out at us and told us we were all supposed to pay attention to the other issue. So back to the topic. Should Kimmel have been suspended? No. It would be foolish to keep trying to make reasons around network TV dying. Hey, somebody's watching it. I Googled it. They said the highest ratings are between 7 and 11 on all national television. That still leads into Kimmel still having some baseline or base of the TV slot. And realistically, yet nobody watches TV, but everybody sees clips. So yeah, TV may have a loss leader, but TV also shouldn't be all for profit. Because if it's all for profit, that basically just tells us they can do whatever they want to make sure it's making money for them, but it does not have to be quality entertainment for the American people. And that's what the FCC should be fighting for. Not one left wing or right wing joke going a little bit too far. It should be making sure that the quality of the information is good. And if you're telling me that the joke about Donald Trump wasn't quality information, well, maybe you guys shouldn't be in charge of entertainment. Air quotes there. I hope y'all caught that. Air quotes, entertainment. Or the ability to affect our entertainment. Because he never got out of body. He never said anything rude. Only thing he might have said rude was directly to the president, and that's who affected his job. Very crazy to witness. I wish we would stop trying to politicize and overanalyze everything for the sake of being the person in the room that may seem like the biggest brain. And let's just start speaking from our troops, our heart. Well, we would have seen this on any other demographic, any other base, any other political party, even if it was an independent political party, we would all be up in order. We should not allow our First Amendment rights to be taken away under the pretense of a situation that none of us have anything to do with. They're working real hard to convince us that our First Amendment rights shouldn't be this open and free. I don't care what Charlie Kirk said about me. I'm a black man in America. It wouldn't be the first time a white man went on stage somewhere and tried to discourage people from believing black people can, will, and do. We've survived it this far, guys. So now let's not have air quote, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but people, like Kimmel said, like the Utah governor said, people start being sad, depressed, hurt, and ass hurt behind words that 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 weeks ago, you didn't care about. They're using you. They've been using you. They got you fighting for something you don't care about when your prices are still high. And I'm going to land here. Because I appreciate the time, and I know Gary left, so we probably got a little extended time, but I don't want to do too much. I've said a lot.
Thanks so much, Chris.
Hold on, I got you, but let me land with this, and I got it. Truthfully, I really think we need to come together as a people and start having better conversations in the middle. And if everybody has an analysis take from their left side, or everybody has some deep analysis take from the right side, we'll never get to the middle where we get to have a real polished conversation, a real open and honest conversation about where we all feel we should be now. Because I'm sure this is not what the Republican Party thought. The Republican voters, I promise you, didn't think this was going this far. Same goes for the leftist voter. Same goes for the independent and left center, whatever you want to call it, right center, whatever. We all now need to start having a discussion. Is this what we picture for our future? And if that's the case, and we get to the table and we have a real honest, earnest conversation about where we all stand in this America, and we find out that this is the best case scenario, then fuck it, that's the best case scenario. But it's time to start having real conversation with real feelings, real emotion that don't tie you back to Republican or Democrat, or independent or Republican, or leftist or right. We need to have a real human conversation so we can figure out how to stop some of this before we lose it all fighting each other. All right, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Howard.
Thank you so much, Chris.
What did we even say other than say we need to have a polished conversation? I didn't hear a fucking thing come out of his lips that had anything to do with anything.
All right, Steve, welcome to the stage. What do you have to say, my friend?
Pleasure to be here, and I hope Gary is okay. I'm going to read an op-ed, an article that I posted on my Facebook this morning. This is by a Los Angeles criminal defense attorney and sometimes ABC commentator Lou Shapiro. Quote, Jimmy Kimmel's suspension from ABC followed remarks he made during his monologue about the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. On September 15th, he said, quote, we hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it, close quote. He also criticized the responses by political figures joking that former President Trump was the fourth stage of grief construction after Trump, when asked if he was holding up, responded by talking about a new ballroom being built at the White House. The reaction was swift and polarizing. President Donald Trump gloated, quote, great news for America, close quote. The ratings challenged Jimmy Kimmel's show is canceled. Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert, if that's possible, close quote. He later added, Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. On the other side, celebrities and political leaders rallied to Kimmel's defense. Actor Ben Stiller posted simply, this isn't right. Actress Jean Smart wrote, I am horrified at the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel Live. What Jimmy said was free speech, not hate speech. People seem to only want to protect free speech when it suits their agenda. What is happening to our country? Comedian Wanda Sykes accused the Trump administration of silencing dissent. Rosie O'Donnell, Kathy Griffin, and Sophia Bush all joined in condemning the suspension, warning of rising authoritarianism and chilling effects on free speech. Political figures also weighed in. Former President Barack Obama warned that the administration has taken cancel culture to a dangerous level by threatening regulatory action against media companies. California Governor Gavin Newsom condemned the suspension, accusing decision makers of prioritizing politics over democratic values. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker was blunt. A free and democratic society cannot silence comedians because the president doesn't like what they say. This is an attack on free speech and cannot be allowed to stand. ABC's decision appears to be driven by the backlash those remarks provoked. Affiliates, notably Nexstar, condemned Kimmel's statements as offensive and insensitive in a tense political climate. The network also likely saw risk in relationships with advertisers, regulators, and local stations, worried about audience backlash. Added to that, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr criticized the comments as misleading and suggested potential regulatory consequences for ABC and Disney. It's important to differentiate between the constitutional protection of free speech and the rights of a private employer under contract law. The First Amendment restricts government censorship or punishment, not actions by private entities. ABC is a private network. Its contracts with on-air talent customarily include clauses, morals clauses, reputational harm clauses, advertiser relations clauses, etc., that give the networks discretion to discipline or suspend hosts whose public speech could harm the company's reputational or financial interests. In this case, Kimmel's statements accusing a political faction, the MAGA game, of opportunism, implying misinformation or mischaracterization, mocking how a high-profile figure is responding, arguably fall within what ABC might deem risky under such contract provisions. Even accepting that ABC has contractual authority, many see the remedy, an indefinite suspension, as disproportionate. Kimmel's comment, while controversial, was part of his role as satirist, commentator. Punishing a public figure so severely for expressing political commentary may chill others from speaking out, especially in media and comedy, where exaggeration, provocation, and critique are part of the craft. Less punitive options could have achieved accountability without silencing him indefinitely. For example, ABC could have imposed a shorter fixed suspension of 1 week, coupled with an opportunity for Kimmel to issue a public apology. Such remedies would acknowledge the seriousness of the controversy while also respecting the role of satire and commentary in democratic discourse. Instead, the indefinite suspension feels excessive, amplifying concerns about overreaction. In conclusion, though Jimmy Kimmel's suspension generates strong feelings, it does not constitute a constitutional violation of free speech. ABC, as a private employer, retains the legal right to enforce contractual clauses and manage how its talent public speech aligns with its business and regulatory objectives. Still, it's not right to rejoice in someone's misfortune. Whether one agrees with Kimmel or not, celebrating his punishment undermines the values of open dialogue and mutual respect that should guide public debate. In moments like these, it is especially important to remain balanced and measured, recognizing both the rights of private companies and the need to preserve space for honest and open dialogue, even when the message is flawed. Lou Shapiro is a criminal defense attorney, certified specialist, and legal analyst out of Century City. He's occasionally on Facebook and can be reached at louisjshapiro@gmail.com. I land my clubhouse plane.
Thank you, Uncle Steve. And see Uncle Steve for the Critical Thinking After Party. He usually pops the room open. So he's a great guy to hang out with. And we will go to Steve. Steve, I moved you down just because you were unmuted. So glad you're back, buddy. Glad you got back on the stage. And you will actually close us down. Steve, my man, what do you have to say on the topic of the day?
Well, to what Uncle Steve was just articulating, the function of any company is your fiduciary function. If you have a board and you have investors, is return on your investment. And if you look at a map, and I looked at one the other day where Sinclair had their stations all throughout the United States. This was a map where Sinclair, based on the climate, was going to take a hit. And if you're in that boardroom and you don't do something to protect your client, and you don't do something to protect your investment, then you haven't done your fiduciary responsibility. Is it over the top? Possibly. We're in the heated climate. People stone things back and forth all the time. I had a small company one time, and if one of my employers was out there aggravating my clients all the time and it was costing me money, guess what? I hired you not to be a voice for my company. I do that. That's not your job. So, you know, was there FCC stuff? Possibly. I was looking at where St. Clair and another company is talking about mergers. But these are all business models. And, you know, you can't complete the First Amendment when it comes to someone running the business. If you want to go to work for someone, like Steve was talking about, there's clauses in contracts. A lot of contracts are at will anymore. That's where your right to articulate yourself in a manner that could be detrimental to someone that's put time, sweat, blood, and money in a corporation that you don't have the right to go out on your own and sabotage. If you want to do that, start your own company and then just say whatever you want to. But in that case, I would suggest that if you operate a company like that, you'd probably go bankrupt. So that's my take on it.
Great point.
Thank you so much, everybody. And that brings the room to a close. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. Thank you, Alan, for being here. And Howard, thank you so much for modding here. And prayers, thoughts and prayers with Gary and his bleeding foot. And we all hope that his foot is heals up nicely. Thank you all. And we will see you all tomorrow for the end of the week show.
Yeah, let me start.
What is she gonna know what she's done?
Nobody's gonna listen. No problem. I'll close the room.
No, Royal.
No, because it's annoying as fuck, and I'm trying to expose
Royal.
Guys are not gonna let me get my shit off. I'll just kick you out the room, or I'll fucking end the room. I don't give a fuck. Like if this is the whole point, I opened the fucking room, right? So this guy, he sat here. Oh well, I want to get back to my argument. And I said, okay, give your argument. And then he says, yeah, because we were rudely interrupted. Bitch, what? I just entered the room. I said, hey, guys, what are you talking about? And you said, oh, hey, Royal, you were in Amir's room? What were you talking about over there? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah? No? Yeah, literally is what he said. So I told him what I was saying in the other room, and then I came there. Yeah, no problem. So then he goes, oh, we were rudely interrupted. I said, how are you rudely interrupted? When I said, hey, guys, what are we talking about?
Hey, I was just playing a clip for somebody. I'm trying to explain to you what happened in the room because you weren't in there.
Trust Qatari government or the people, and there are a lot of slavery going on, and a lot of people died in Qatar when there was a war final going on. I don't know what was it.
Only like 300,000 are like actual citizens, right? The rest are like all kinds of like workers and like 300,000. That's the number of citizens in this country.
Yes, it's
if
even
I remember
more
correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I remember.
Yeah, that's correct. But it's even more because some of them they don't have any ID, and they get their passports. It's like they basically kidnap them. It's a neo-slavery. It's a very bad country. I mean, it's even.
And they were able to host what was it? The soccer, the championship, or like what was the FIFA. And this is like part of this whitewashing them into like as a normal country. And I think that and I think the good thing about what the attack that Israel did in Qatar, maybe the timing was questionable, but it was like masks off. Like they're playing as this mediator while also hosting Hamas and also operating Al Jazeera. I just didn't get it from the get-go. What the fuck makes them mediators? They are like participants. They are like the financiers and the propaganda arm. They are not like a third party. They should be. I don't get it how they're not like how Israel doesn't sue those countries with the same way that South Africa and all those are suing Israel.
Because they say that. Yeah, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And since America or USA has the biggest base there, basically Qatar is hard to ignore for Israel. But I think Israel did the right thing. Actually, Iranian and Iranian people are happy.
Okay, I'm just going to give this and then I'm going to go away. You're good.
Sorry?
Sorry. Someone's talking. No more. Amazon? Hold on, I'm using normal. It's hot mic. Talking to a Israeli guy.
Speaking of the double standards there, do you remember the Sri Lankan army fighting against the Tamils? I think circa 2006, 2011. I mean, there were reports of tens of thousands of civilians killed. No one gave a shit. Not a single demonstration in Europe. I mean, just think about it.
Listen, the entire world is up in arms about this Israeli attack on Hamas on Qatari territory. 3 months earlier, Iran launched missiles at American targets in Qatar territories. Everybody acknowledged that the attack was not on Qatar, but on the United States, which was an enemy to Iran. And in this case, the world freaks out with condemnation left and right, as if we attacked Qatar. It was just 3 months ago. How could people forget it? It's the same country.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it. They were talking about the removing Kimmel from the show.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
And first off, Moose and JCC, were you able to hear the music and hear me talking? I just couldn't hear you, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, we heard the music.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, great. JCC, thank you. Appreciate that. We just started because I was just playing a little bit of music. So let's first go to JCC. JCC, you want to talk or you want to defer to Moose for now?
Moose could say, my 2 cents is neither Kimmel nor Stephen Colbert should have been fired. However, it is what it is. Maybe bigger things will come for them. So
you got it. Okay, Moose, go ahead there, bro.
I echo JCC's sentiment. I mean, you just cannot make this stuff up. It's a lot of folks were upset that Kirk was allegedly killed for his. Well, we all know he's killed, but for allegedly exercising his free speech. And I agree. Nobody should be killed for exercising free speech, and I don't think anybody should be canceled for exercising free speech, particularly comedians. But I guess it's one thing to be doing your bit at a bar, except when your bar is owned by corporate mega corporations. Well, then let's cue the censorship. I think these are concerning days if this is a pattern.
I'm going to say something that's totally politically incorrect, but I believe is 100% is true. I totally support cancel culture because, in my humble opinion, I stress opinion, cancel culture is democracy at its heart. You get millions of people that say, I don't want this person on your TV show, or I'm going to stop buying your paper towels. That is pure democracy. And y'all, you are all free to disagree with me, but I totally support. Well, we'll do it in order. And if you want to
slandering your political opponents is democracy.
The show earlier, Critical Thinking, they were talking, and it was titled about Jimmy Kimmel. So let's rock and roll. Jerome Powell. I don't think I've spoken with you before, have I?
I think we did.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to speak to you again. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi. To be honest, I just gave you this big eye thing because you said you support the cancel.
Absolutely, 100%. Yes, I do.
Yeah, but the example you gave that's not really the cancel culture.
Really? What is a better example? Please educate.
No. You scared me because you said you were supporting the cancel culture, and then you gave this example, and I thought,
I don't support all the people that are canceled, but I totally support the premise of cancel culture because I believe it is our truest form of democracy. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. But the example you gave is less worrying than I thought, right? Because I don't support the cancel culture because it's a lot of people it's a small group of people screaming and making a lot of noise, but it's not I'm a little rusty in my English. It's not they're not talking for everybody. You know what I mean? So when you gave the example, I thought, oh, okay, you're still my friend. That's a sort of a joke.
I wasn't referring to Charlie Kirk or Kimmel. I was referring to the premise of cancel culture.
Yeah. But the example you gave, I can totally. I can
Millions of people saying that if you don't take that person off the air, we're no longer going to buy your paper towels. That's exactly what I said. Yes.
Okay. But is that a cancel?
Advertisers control the air. If every single advertiser canceled their contract on the Jimmy Kimmel show, his show would have been canceled immediately, and no one would have questioned it. They would have blamed it all on the advertisers. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, but that's still not the cancel culture then, right?
Well, educate me. What is cancel culture?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
No. Okay.
Well, if you don't know, how can you argue what I'm saying is wrong?
No. It's not wrong. I think you do. No. You're fine. It's just you said I support the cancel culture. And
I support the premise of cancel culture because I think it's one of the truest forms of democracy. Yes, I've said it 3 times.
Yeah, and
yes.
I can hear you. I just came in, so I should I can also listen, of course.
I love that.
I would like to give you a compliment because it sounds really hard, like this cancel culture thing. But in this case, I totally agree with you. Because this is the way it works. Who pays? What is the saying about it?
Steve Appel's a bitch.
Advertising
a big
controls
stupid
media,
bitch.
not content.
So is JCC.
Yeah.
So is Marshall.
If all the advertisers
This
stood
show
up to
already
ABC and
sucks.
said,
And Moon,
if you take the
Moose
show
is
and
also
Kimmel
a
off
bitch.
the air,
El
we're
Normo.
taking our
I like El
billions of
Normo. Everybody else on this
advertising
stage
dollars
is
off,
a
he would not have been taken off the air and the show would not have been suspended. Take my word for it.
Yeah, I do. So thank you, and I totally agree.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I love it when people agree with me. Let's say hello to Normal. Hey, Normal, I know you just got here. Did you want to talk or do you want to hang?
Well, I wanted to say that the expression is, "He who pays the piper calls the tune."
Oh yeah,
and there. No, sir, who was that? Was that Jerome? You got to hang. You got to stay on mute. It's also, Norm, you don't bite the hand that feeds, but please continue.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Now, there's another truth here, and that truth is that these networks are hemorrhaging money these days.
Yep.
So whatever contract they hold with their late night talk show hosts, however many millions of dollars I have a feeling they're having difficulty getting the kinds of ratings that they had as recently as 10 years ago.
No question about it. I mean, all of late night, the ratings and the advertising revenue have been going downhill steadily. Yes.
That's right. And, the ratings for YouTube are up, and you can watch a million different things on YouTube. So what do you want to sit there and watch television with commercials for?
It's not only that, but if you're on YouTube, what is the production value of a YouTube cost? A couple of $100, a couple of $1,000. They pay millions of dollars to produce each show, don't they? I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So the world is changing.
Oh, yeah.
This is not only a political decision. I think it is. I think it was horrible taste for Jimmy Kimmel to wade into this matter with the party he's not even told. But I also think they had a financial motivation.
Norm, I think they were looking for an excuse. Just my opinion. It's not like everything else was okie dokie until this comment occurred. I think they were looking for an excuse because of the low ratings, because of the loss of revenue, and this was just an excuse, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, pretext.
I don't think he should have gotten fired for what he said, but I do think what he said was incredibly problematic. 4 days after the guy was shot, he was making a claim about political motivations of the shooter being on the right-hand side of the aisle, when the responsible thing is to go, political violence is bad. It's bad when it's done on all sides, period. And Kimmel tried to equivocate in a way that drug him into something he shouldn't have. It took his ability to be funny and made it political in a way that was just not helpful to his overall message.
Sounded to me like he was gravy training a death to get back at MAGA and to use it as he was gravy training a horrible death to stick another sword in MAGA's chest. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, he was being rather explicit about his views. The people on the right were trying desperately to turn him into something, to turn him into anything other than, quote, one of them. I think it's incredibly unwise for Kimmel to have made such a remark. I just feel like there needs to be a bit of clarification from my view. Shouldn't have gotten fired. I don't think that should have got him off the air, but he shouldn't have said it. He was piling on top.
It was in very bad taste, I'll tell you that.
He was doing the same thing that President Trump did that was so destructive for the country. It was destructive when Trump blamed it all on the left, and it's destructive when Kimmel just blames it all on the right. It doesn't help.
Thank you.
Did I get in here real quick?
Yeah, hold on. We got Necro and then Steve Wee. Necro.
Yeah, in general, it's like I just think with Kimmel, like with cancel culture, I don't like it, and it's not because though I'm a person who is anybody who's woke who lost his job recently for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death or anything like that. But it's also not because I'm not it's also not because I'm a person who is conservative, who has ideas that a lot of people just find really unpopular. I just think it's ultimately kind of like essentially
They were so unpopular they led to the last presidential win, the largest youth threat since Richard Nixon.
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially, like, I just think conservatives, though, like, when they complain about cancel culture, they complain essentially, like, about ideas that they complain about, they speak about the next day, like, abortion, like, when they're anti-abortion, they complain that they're canceled for being against it, and then they go on speak about it the next day. But anyways, I'm against cancel culture mostly because I just see it as a weapon that shows, like, to try to create. It's just essentially creating a mob to shut up other people. Now you might say,
and
like,
you would agree Kimmel should have created his own mob.
Can I? Okay. So, but it's like I see your point, Steve. Essentially, that it's democracy. Because I mean, essentially, democracy is kind of like everybody saying your ideas suck. Get off the stage,
or I won't buy your product.
Yeah, it's it's everybody giving their honest opinion, and you can say that it's difficult to stand on, but it's like I mean, so I do see your point, Steve. Definitely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But in general, that's my reason I'm against cancel culture, and it's not. Because I'm, a lefty who lost a job recently, but it's also not because
there are plenty of good reasons not to support cancel culture. Not a problem.
Yeah, it's also not because, like I said, that my ideas suck as a conservative.
No, not at all. Thank you. Okay, Steve Wee.
Yeah, I don't mean to reiterate this, but I think it's an important point in a new room. If you I looked at a map the other day of the location of Sinclair's broadcast facilities across the United States. Now, whether people want to accept this or not, it's really irrelevant because the station managers in those markets know what their audience is. And if you're a corporation and you're in a market where these type of things is going to cause financial damage to you, and you're running a corporation, it's your fiduciary responsibility to try to protect your corporation. And I think that more than anything, that's what Sinclair's saying. They got stations in markets, believe it or not, that doesn't think like certain segments of the United States. And I think they went to ABC and told ABC, hey man, look, you're damaging us if you don't say something about this, they don't have to carry Kimball. They could, and they did. They threatened to pull him off there and put another guy in his time slot. You know what that's called? That's called responding to your customers and staying in business.
Yes, sir. Let's go to David. Hi, David.
Good afternoon. I want to say to Steve, and I respect you. We have a Sinclair station here in the Northwest, which is as liberal as anything on the West Coast, and our state actually voted more liberally than the previous election, which is hard to do. And Sinclair isn't afraid to publish their ultra-conservative viewpoint on their news broadcasts in our world. So please, they don't change it for where they are. I'm not a Kimmel fan. I don't think he should have been fired. Obviously, this isn't financial, not because of the people broadcasting him, but the people who want to do deals and need to get them done. And I said it in the other room. We have a $15 billion suit against the New York Times from this administration. We have ABC backing down from a lawsuit that they knew they could win. We have other places where now the media is being made afraid to comment on what they really want to say.
And ABC, Disney that owns ABC is a $200 billion company. Please continue.
Right. And so many of these shows, the news shows, not the comedy shows, but the news shows were always operating often at a loss because it was more seen as a public good. And some of their licenses actually have parts of public good in their license that they have to do certain things.
I would think all of them have them,
right.
But please continue.
Right. So I would love to see what they're going to replace this losing Kimmel show with and see how much money they make off it. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. I want to go to the mods, but before we go to the mods, I want to play a 2-minute clip. So JCC, Marshall, Daryl, get ready. And if you're in the audience, come on up. This is, I think it's on point. It's about halfway through The People versus Larry Flint, and it's the closing argument made in his trial where they were trying to make illegal his Hustler magazine. I think it's on point to this, but check it out.
Well, here we go, another boring-ass little buttercup room spreading her propaganda, wasting all the time, talking about nothing. It's pathetic, buttercup. Get a life, do something with yourself. Go to the gym, or do some yoga. Make a video, do something creative. You're gonna burn out doing this. It's a waste of time what you're doing.
I'm not trying to convince you that you should like what Larry Flint does. I don't like what Larry Flint does. But what I do like is that I live in a country where you and I can make that decision for ourselves. I like that I live in a country where I can pick up Hustler magazine and read it if I want to, or throw it in the garbage can if that's where I think it belongs. Or better yet, I can exercise my opinion and not buy it. I like that I have that right. I care about it. And you should care about it too. You really should. Because we live in a free country. We say that a lot, but I think sometimes we forget really what that means. So listen to it again. We live in a free country. And that is a powerful idea. That's a magnificent way to live. But there is a price for that freedom, which is that sometimes we have to tolerate things that we don't necessarily like. So go back in that room where you are free to think whatever you want to think about Larry Flint and Hustler magazine. But then ask yourselves if you want to make that decision for the rest of us. Because the freedom that everyone in this room enjoys is in a very real way in your hands. And if we start throwing up walls against what some of us think is obscene, we may very well wake up one morning and realize that walls have been thrown up in all kinds of places that we never expected. And we can't see anything or do anything. And that's not freedom. That is not freedom. So be careful.
And let's go to our mods. JCC.
Hang on, I can't talk.
Yeah, okay, let's go to Marshall.
I tend to agree with Cliff. We don't want to erect barriers to free speech culture or free speech in that way. It's wrong when the government gets involved in viewpoint discrimination, and Americans have to think about what they say and whether it adds to the national discourse or not. Because, like it or not, the whole national discourse is built of small conversations. And we have to decide whether we're going to stand up for an idea that people should be able to say what they'd like to say, not get fired, and that you can call somebody celebrating another person's assassination unhelpful at the same time. I think we have to have both of those kinds of thoughts in our head. And I think it's unfortunate we live in a country where our president, instead of choosing to unite the country when he had the pulpit, decided to blame it on one particular party. That shouldn't have been the message. The message should have been political violence is wrong. It doesn't matter who does it. It's always wrong. Same way we think murder's wrong. Murder's wrong. It's always wrong. It doesn't matter who does it.
Thank you, Marshall. There's no question in my mind, no question at all, black and white, no gray, that the government brought pressure to bear. But is this a free speech First Amendment issue? No, it is not. This is a business decision. Now, did the government violate the Constitution by bringing pressure to bear? I'm not sure. I don't know. Let's go to David. Hi, David.
Hey, I want to comment. This is Daryl.
I'm sorry, Daryl. Sorry about that, Daryl.
No worries. Comedy has always talked about, this quote unquote, the right to offend, right? And, this goes back to like the Great Depression. So during the Great Depression, the Marx Brothers, Abbott and Costello, Laurel and Hardy, they would make fun of, or at least bring satire to like tough situations. And, it's been studied and talked about that comedy was the number one way of escapism through the Great Depression for many people. So there's always been this idea or this philosophy about the right to offend without necessarily causing harm per se, right? And so if we're at the point where people are just so thin-skinned that the right to offend doesn't exist anymore, then what is next? It's what else will people find offensive? And where does this go? Because comedy has really helped this country tackle like some serious issues, even the Vietnam War.
You were boring.
You would bring comedians out to see the troops, and the comedians would make fun of what the troops were doing in the Vietnam War. So is it that comedy is no longer has the right to offend, or is it just the comedy I want to hear or you want to hear, and any other joke is just tasteless per se, but yeah, I fall back on like leave comedians alone because they've been doing this for 100 years.
Thank you. Scott Jones, would you like to contribute or are you good?
I just think it's so interesting that Trump kind of ran on this being a free speech advocate and how the woke left was censoring people and that he was for a free speech guy, and then he's a guy that really tries to use the powers of his off-cultural influence to censor people. He is the son of a gun, and which that's one thing. People sometimes are censorious, but it's just interesting where he
Zion got
the
kicked.
opposite of censorious. and pretty thin-skinned, and it's continuing. Again, I read in the room, but I'll read it again. The Truth, from Truth Social. I love it that they call it Truths, but he says 15 hours ago, he said, "Great news for America. The ratings challenged Jimmy Kimmel show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. Kimmel has zero talent and worse ratings than even Colbert. Okay, if that's possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do an NBC President DJT. No, if that's not the push to censor, right? I mean, he's. I hope NBC doesn't have any mergers or anything before them, because if that's not a Putzer, I don't know what is.
Thank you. Daniel, you're next up. Daniel.
Me?
Daniel. Daniel? Hi, Dan.
Which Daniel? I think there are a couple of
I showed Daniel Nero as first in my queue.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you for that. And I'll be brief. I just wanted to dovetail on the Larry Flint comment. And I think that, like, if Kimmel spent more time, writing funny jokes instead of, sticking his nose into places where they don't belong, then he would probably still have a job. Like the guy